Because I'm doing the math. You were about 4 or 5 years out of school?
Yeah, 4 years.
And it sounds like you guys were already pretty aware of the numbers for women in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. How did all that awareness come to you, or did you already know?
Well, you can't enter the entertainment industry without people throwing the likelihood of your failure in your face. So we kind of knew that it was bad. Yeah, it's like, oh, you want to be a writer from, X percentage of write. I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you so much. If Shonda Rhimes did it, I'll find a way. No, we didn't really know the stats until we looked into it, and they were like, it's bleak. It's bleak for guys and girls, but especially for women. We knew that we wanted to have some type of small change in that, even if it's a web series.
You're listening to The Other 50%, a herstory of Hollywood. I'm Julie Harris Walker. This is the podcast where I talk to successful women in entertainment and hear their stories. This week I spoke with Myah Hollis. Myah is the writer and producer of the web series called Or Die Trying. She also acted in it. She is a talented multi-hyphenate in the class of millennials that is making their own work and killing it. We talked about the tortured life of the writer and her plans to be Shonda. I have no doubt she will be. You can find us at theother50%.com to see bios, photos, my musings on the blog, the coffee cups, the t-shirts. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, Podbay, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the places. Please help spread the word and share this podcast with at least one friend today. And I have another podcast called The Other 50%, a herstory of tech. You can also find it on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, all the places, and on the Other 50% website. And that's where I talk to successful women in tech and hear their stories. Okay, here's Myah.
What do you do?
I am a writer, a producer, a new producer. I was kind of not forced into producing, but I learned that if I want to write for TV, first I learned that I want to write, and then I'm like, TV or film, and I realized that TV gives writers more power. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, if you're writing for TV and you want the power, you have to also produce.
Yeah, it makes you a producer.
Exactly. So I'm a producer because I kind of fell into it, and then I also am a blogger. So I do a lot of different writing things.
What's your blog?
It's called hollybaker.com, and it's like a lifestyle and like wellness blog, but specifically for creatives and artists, because I found out that when you're trying to be a creative, your health goes out the window because you're staying up late nights, you're eating junk, you're not taking care of yourself. So I'm like, we need to find a way to like balance being creative and like being a healthy, functional person. So,
I love it. That is so smart.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just produced a web series.
I did.
Which I loved.
Thank you.
What is it called?
It's called Or Die Trying.
Or Die Trying. Mm-hmm. Meaning,
well, the name came around because we weren't sure what to call it, and we had this whole big brainstorming session, me and my producing partner, Sarah Hawkins, and also Jenny Austin, who plays Amelia in the show. We weren't sure what to call it, and we got to a point where it was very late at night, and we were kind of over the brainstorming process, and I was just like, or die trying. And they're like, what? And I'm like, ... or die trying. Like, put whatever you want in front of it, or die trying. Just to symbolize going after something and wanting it and going after no matter what the costs are. And it kind of took a minute for them to be like, okay.
That's it.
Yeah. And then we had this light bulb moment and we stuck with it.
Perfect. Like, sometimes you just have to stay up late at night until you're so exhausted to get the right name.
That's the only way I get things done.
Because everyone in the series is pursuing something different. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I got to tell you. It was so good. I binged the whole thing in about a day and a half.
Oh, wow.
And I think it should be on a network. I'm talking to you, people listening.
Thank you so much.
So tell me how this all came about. But start at the beginning. What did you want to do when you were a kid?
Initially, when I was a kid, I wanted to be, when I was a tiny child, I wanted to be a teacher. This is before I knew that people treat and pay teachers horribly. But I still kind of have some of that. Like, I've always been into learning and things like that, and I still kind of get very teachy with people. So I wanted to be a teacher. And then as I got older, I wanted to be a fashion designer because my grandma and my aunt are seamstresses. So I grew up like making little bracelets out of like pieces of fabric that I found on the floor and like straight pins and like making my grandma wear them, even though it was like literally digging into her arm. And I was going to go to school for fashion, but I didn't get into the school I wanted to get into, which was NYU, which is a blessing down the line because my student loans are killing me right now with having gone to Temple University. So I can only imagine what it would have been like had I gone to the NYU, I'd be drowning.
I can tell you, it's awful.
Yeah. So blessing in disguise, Temple sent me to LA, and whole long story. But
so what did you study?
I studied communications. My grandma and my aunt were very upset that I didn't want to be a seamstress, but I actually decided or found out I wanted to be a writer in high school. It's the creepiest story.
Oh, tell us.
Yeah, I got into Twilight. This is after the first movie came out and everybody was obsessed. I hadn't read it. I had no interest in it. And I found the book in like Walmart for $5. And so I read it and became obsessed.
That's how Twilight worked.
Yeah, like obsessed to the point where after it was done, I had extreme what do I do with my life now?
Withdrawal.
It was to the point I was like, I will never find anything this good. I literally had, keep in mind, I'm 16, 17 years old.
My life is over.
I'm like, what am I going to do? And so I was like, I have to write something because I just have to create because there's clearly nothing better than Twilight in the world. So let me birth the next Twilight was my mentality at that age. So I started writing a novel in high school and I was writing it in journals in class and my friends would steal my journals and read and write the next chapter and I would go home and write it and it was great. And
was it based on Twilight or something?
No, it was totally different. And I worked on that novel all through high school. That was junior, senior year that I got into that. So I did half of it and then I took a break when I went to college for a little while and then I worked on it on again and off again in college. And then being at Temple and being a comm major, I just was thrown into film classes and media classes. And Temple had a program that sent you out to LA to intern. First, they sent me out to New York, which I was very smart. I convinced my school to let me intern for myself. I told them that I was a writer. And yes, it was the inaugural summer of this New York study abroad program. And so I told them I'm a writer. I should just get to go to New York and Carrie Bradshaw my way through New York for the summer. And they were like, okay. So I lived in Brooklyn Heights for 3 months writing a book. It was crazy. And then 2 days after I got back to Philly, I flew to LA for the semester for an LA internship.
Hold on.
Yeah.
How many credits did you get for sitting in Brooklyn?
9 credits. 9 credits. The equivalent of 3 classes worth of.
And how much did it cost you?
It just was part of the student, I never know what things cost in college as far as courses and stuff. Yeah. I think it was a couple grand, but it all just went into the abyss of student loans.
Okay, no so clue. Did you finish your novel then that summer?
Did I finish it? Maybe not.
Did you write it all that summer?
I didn't. I worked on it, but I wasn't very diligent because I was living in New York with no classes and getting school credit. So I did work on it, but the novel has taken so many different forms. I still have it. I went through the whole thing of sending out query letters and doing that whole thing, but I still think that it's not quite what I want it to be, so I'm sitting on it for a while. But going to LA and choosing LA instead of going to France or Spain.
So that was your junior abroad, was LA?
LA, yeah. Actually, I did it senior year. I did the first semester of senior year, and then I came back from LA, and I had one more semester at school.
Hold on, don't skip LA.
Oh, LA was great.
What'd you do here?
Oh my gosh, okay. I interned for Hollywood Studios International. Mm-hmm. It was very chill. It wasn't chill. It was crazy, but it was great. I worked for 5 different literary managers. It was my crash course in Hollywood. I didn't know how to write a script. I never took screenwriting classes. And I was the one intern who came in and lasted the whole time because people would find other opportunities and they would go. So I became the resident intern, and then the secretary left, so I became her too for a little while. It was a lot, but it gave me a crash course in what makes a good script, how to format a script, what managers are looking for, what studios are looking for.
Did you do coverage?
I did so much coverage.
Oh, so you learned a lot.
A lot of coverage. And I had the best teacher, my boss, who I was working for as an intern. His name was Matthew Horowitz. He's not there anymore. Nobody is there anymore that I worked with. But I think he really inspired my voice as a writer because he said that the scripts that resonate with him the most are the ones where he feels like the writer is talking to the audience or the reader as opposed to talking at them. He said, for example, and this was my first day, he was like, so, if, for instance, I'm reading a script and they're talking about a penis or a dick, they're like, he was like, I appreciate if the writer's and then it was a dick. It wasn't a long dick or a small, it was, what a dick is. It's a dick. He was like, I like when people talk to me like that.
You're welcome to Hollywood.
Exactly. He's like, I don't have to you don't have to be poetic. Just talk to me so that I get it and be straightforward And he said that that's what resonates with him, as opposed to writers who try to be super fluffy, which was hard for me coming from novels to not want to be prosy. Yeah. And so it taught me to really...
5 pages of description.
Exactly. He's like, keep it to 3 lines. I'm like, oh, wow, 3 lines of action, great. So it was a fantastic experience.
That is great. Now, for people who don't know, what is coverage?
Coverage is the worst thing in the world. No, it's basically you get I got scripts and novels at that job. It depends on who you're doing coverage for and what they want. But essentially, it's giving them the Cliff Notes version of the script or the project so that the manager does not actually have to read it. And then if they like you, they'll let you give your opinion of it. Like, that was great or that was horrible, and they'll take your word for it. So a lot of assistants or interns have a lot of power in that way. If they're doing coverage and they think that the script is horrible, they'll tell their boss, and their boss won't even touch it. That's kind of the point, is to weed through.
So they can kill it.
Exactly.
Wasn't it a bunch of readers and assistants who put together the blacklist of the best scripts that did get produced?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Assistants in this town are powerful.
They're super powerful.
And they all know each other.
They all, it's always like pitch the assistant, because if you can get them obsessed with it, they'll nag their boss, and their boss will eventually get around to it.
Yeah.
So,
smart.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a good tip. Don't be mean to the person answering the phone.
No, absolutely not. Be sweet, because if they don't like you, their boss is definitely not going to like you.
Yeah. And it pays to be the person answering the phone.
Yes. As long as you need to, don't stay there forever, but yeah.
So what happened next? You went back to Temple to finish up?
I did. I went back there, and my dad lives in Philly, so I did like a commute. I think I scheduled my classes Tuesday and Thursday, so I only had to be on campus those days, and I commuted, and my mind was just, you're moving to LA. As soon as you graduate, Los Angeles has no weather. That's where you're going. And my parents were like, you ain't going to LA. I've been in, Philly, Delaware my whole life, so...
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, they're like, what? My entire family still lives where we lived, and everybody's just kind of always nested there. So the idea of me moving 3,000 miles away was just like, no, you're not.
They were not having it.
Yeah, but I was going, and I went. I graduated in May, and I moved by August.
Wow, you meant it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you got here, and then how long have you been here?
I've been here since 2013, August 2013, so 4 years now.
Okay, how's it going?
It's going great.
What was your first job?
My first job was Barney's, New York. That's where I worked in Philly, and I transferred. And it's funny because I met my trying producing partner, Sarah, in Philly at Barney's. We worked together, and we both moved out here like a couple months apart. She came out, I think, in October of that year.
And now you're collaborating.
Exactly.
I love it. That's how it works.
Yep. I've had so many crap jobs, though, since I've been here. I've had so
like
many.
What?
I've worked besides Barney's, which was a great retail job, but it was retail. I also worked at Nobu in Malibu, which was not my favorite place. It's one of my favorite places to eat at.
Oh, for sure.
But tip people who work at Nobu, please, because it's 6 hours, like your shift will be like 6 hours or so, of running around. It's not like a regular restaurant job where you're like, okay, let me check on my tables and go grab a snack in the back or hang out. No, you're running. It's a marathon. I lost so much weight.
Constant, right?
Yeah, and it's the level of service is so high. It's like, God forbid, there's a drop of soy sauce on someone's plate. You have to replace that plate now. I became super aware, and so now when I go out to eat, I treat my servers and everybody so nicely. I stack my dishes.
Everyone should spend a little time waiting tables. It makes you a better human.
Absolutely, yes, and it makes you appreciate your money. Tip people for sure. Tip them well because they work for it.
And a couple dollars more on a tip is a big deal.
Absolutely.
And it's a couple dollars cheap.
Absolutely. Not so much on the West Coast because servers get paid pretty well. Here on the East Coast, servers are still getting paid a couple dollars an hour. Like your paycheck doesn't really matter. It's just like a bonus. It's all tips.
I was making $2.13 an hour waiting tables in 1990.
Yeah, it hasn't changed much.
Oh, that's good. Great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just so you know. I came here, they're like, we make $10 an hour. I'm like,
what? Tell me one more crap job.
I worked at Chin Chin on the Sunset Strip. That was crappy. I also worked at a modeling agency that will not be named, which wasn't crappy. It just wasn't for me. It told me that the industry was just very, very shallow, the modeling industry specifically. And I also worked at a really shady writing company. so shady.
Writing
it wasn't
company.
A writing company, really. I was a writer there, but it was more the writing portion, like the online magazine, was kind of a front for the products they were trying to sell. So they sold like hair products, diet pills, like all this stuff somewhere in the valley. It was so shady. And they would have me write. I ran like an online magazine. I'm using air quotes. I know you guys can't see me. An online magazine where I was just an array of different people. And we had stock footage, images of people on the team page. It was so shit, but it was all me. And I was like, writing an article like, this is Sarah. And it was just like a stock image of some random girl, and it was me.
And the goal was to sell the products?
Just to sell the products. And they didn't even say they were affiliated with the online magazine, more air quotes people. And they're just like, oh yeah, now plug our oil in. Oh, we love this oil by this brand, but really that's shady. And I got fired and I cried, even though I hated that job so much.
It's still so insulting to be fired, especially if it's someplace you don't respect. It's just even worse.
I was like, what's wrong? And then I got the perfect job, which I still have now. And I was just like, meant to be. Absolutely meant to be.
Okay, so then you guys got this idea for this series.
Yes. Yeah, so me and Sarah knew that we wanted to make something together. So initially we wanted to do like a split screen, minimal dialogue short film of a writer and an actress, because me and her had been through so many struggles, so many crap jobs, that we're like, we want to show people the duality of living in such a beautiful, cool place, but also struggling so much. So we were going to do this idea where we do like a split screen look at a writer and a actress kind of living like a day in the life and kind of show what they go through, but how at the end of the day you're still in LA, and that's something to be said about you going after your dreams.
Yeah, even though you got a parking ticket that costs more than you just made at your day job.
Exactly. It's like you come home and it's like, I'm still in LA. This is great. So we wanted to do that. And then Sarah also works at the Academy, which is where we premiered ODT, which was crazy. And she was working with Jenny Austin and Chelsea London Lloyd, who are the other leads in the show. Jenny and Sarah wanted to do something together as well. So she brought all of us together, the three of us. And that's when we kind of came up with the idea of the show, like the vibe we wanted and things like that. And then I came up with the characters and kind of the storylines. And then we're like, well, we need to bring on Chelsea, who I hadn't met yet. They knew her from work. We need to bring her on to kind of finish the ensemble lead. And then it was just like, from there.
So explain the premise of the show.
We've been, which is crazy because I love both these shows, but we've been kind of compared to like LA Girls or like a female Entourage.
Yeah, totally.
Like a mix between those two of like the millennialism of Girls with the industry aspect of Entourage. Mm-hmm. But the idea behind the show is it follows four girls. It follows a screenwriter, a actress, kind of like an indie actress. She has some issues. A journalist.
She does. She doesn't want like a real job that pays.
No, she's crazy. It is so crazy because Sarah, who plays her, is like, what? It's insane.
I knew so many people like that in college. Mm. You know, you go to acting school and you learn the classics and you have this lofty idea and so many people said, I will never sell out and do commercials. Mm-hmm. It's like, really? Do a commercial and support yourself for a year.
Absolutely. Yes.
It's mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like, what are you waiting for?
Exactly. And then there's a comedian who's played by Chelsea London Lloyd. And it's just, I wanted to make a show that didn't necessarily focus on their work life. I didn't want it to be an industry show that's just, and this is us on set all day. And I wanted to show the humanity of it and kind of how when one side of your life is going well, the other side is crap and vice versa. So I'm like, okay, we need some characters who are kind of excelling at work but can't get their personal life together. Some people who are okay with their personal life but can't get their work stuff together, or people who are just failing at both. I just wanted to show
just failing at everything.
Failing, which is Amelia. So I wanted to show like that aspect of things are not great for anybody.
Yeah.
It's really about how you deal with it.
And it's all women.
Yes.
And what did your crew look like?
Very female.
Now, is all that intentional?
Yes.
Why?
Because Sarah is a genius. Sarah is the produced by producer, so she's like the head honcho of the producing side of things, and she does producing the way I do creative, and both of us know that we're good at what we're good at, and that's what makes us a good team. So she knew that we wanted it to be very like women in film, very empowering, so we set off for 85% female for our crew, and I think that we might have been a little above that. It was just a lot of ladies, and it was fantastic. The dudes loved, like we were just all a big family. It was crazy.
Now, what was the dynamic of the set having that many women on it?
It was very, very chill. You would think that it would be like super type A because it's just so many female personalities, but it was so cool. All the guys, like, and Sarah kind of talks about this whenever we do press, that even though women still have a long way to go in Hollywood, you do need those male allies to really kind of vouch for you because they have so much power. Yeah. And so the guys that we worked with were just very, very nurturing of that and very nurturing of the fact that this is a show about women, this is a show for women, and it's a show by women, and they didn't ever try to mansplain us on anything. It was very collaborative and sweet and
How'd you pick these guys? Was there a screening process?
Oh, no. Because you need a budget to really screen people, which we didn't have. So Richie, our DP for our trailer, we shot a concept trailer a year or so before we shot the season. And he is a very, very talented DP. And so he kind of just loves us because we cannot afford him, but he still hangs around and helps us and works with us. So we knew we wanted Richie because we love his eye. It's so clean and sharp and just different. He gave us such a cinematic vibe to this show that...
Yes.
Yeah, right? So we love him. And then all the other guys were just crew friends that we knew who were like, hey, we're so broke, but love us anyway. And they're like, oh, cool project. Yeah, we'll hang. So
did you raise any money to produce this, or did you really just do it with love?
No, yes, with lots of love.
And with love.
Yes, but we did crowdfund twice, which was an experience. We went through Sea and Spark. They're great. And we crowdfunded once for production, and we intended for that to be our only crowdfunding campaign.
And then you got to post?
Yes, but we raised $13,000 for the season. Our goal was more around $25,000, so you can see what I mean about no money. A little bit of gap. We raised another, I want to say $2,000 for post, so a total of a little under 15.
How did you
That's
do
what we
it?
did. Passionate people who didn't care that they weren't getting paid much.
And who had the software on their computer?
No, we had a post house that did it. Hot Pixel did our post production.
What?
Yeah.
For nothing.
For nothing. And it was oh, we need to push post today because we have to edit Marvel stuff. We're like, take your time. My God, are you kidding me? So they're so fantastic. We could not have done any of this without them. And same with our sound girl, Yu-Ting Su. She did all of that sound editing in, I want to say, 2 weeks. Everything, Foley, everything. So I still am in disbelief that this even happened. It's a blur.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing the math. You were about 4 or 5 years out of school?
Yeah, 4 years.
And it sounds like you guys were already pretty aware of the numbers for women in Hollywood. How did all that awareness come to you, or did you already know?
Well, you can't enter the entertainment industry without people throwing the likelihood of your failure in your face. So we kind of knew that it was bad. Yeah, it's oh, you want to be a writer? X percentage of I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you so much. If Shonda Rhimes did it, I'll find a way. No, we didn't really know the stats until we looked into it, and they were like, it's bleak. It's bleak for guys and girls, but especially for women. We knew that we wanted to have some type of small change in that, even if it's a web series. We're going to bring some ladies in.
That's right.
Make this work. Yeah.
Be the change you want to see.
Exactly.
And you guys did it.
We did
in
it.
a big way.
Yeah.
Okay, so what kind of response have you been getting?
It's been fantastic. Like I said, we premiered at the Academy, which was...
How fun was that?
The craze, what? I still can't even...
the Film Academy?
Yes,
that one?
Like the Oscars.
What'd your family say about that?
They flew out here. My mom and my dad flew out here. All the parents flew into town of the 4 leads. They all flew in.
They're so proud of you.
Yeah, it was insane. We had sponsors who gave us alcohol because that's necessary,
At a premiere, for sure.
Absolutely. And then we had, lemonade catered, and it was just a lot. It was just a blur.
So much support.
Crazy. Yeah, so much love, so much support, so much positivity. I got a lot of crap for my character's actions. People are choosing teams between my character and her boyfriend, and I'm not chosen often in the split up of things, but that's great. I got a lot of angry texts as my friends started to watch ODT as my character,
Well, people were invested.
They were very invested. And now I know how people Issa Rae feels with Insecure, how people will be like, oh, Team Lawrence or Team Issa, I totally understand now because my friends are like, I'm Team Miles. And I'm like, cool, we've known each other for 8 years, but I'm so happy you chose the guy. Sounds great.
Well, your character was very emo the whole time. Mm-hmm. She was very depressed as she's working her network writing job.
It's so funny. That's one of the main things that people told me, like, Reagan's so sad. I'm like, there are reasons.
She has a lot on her mind.
There are a lot of reasons, and that's what I'm excited to do a season 2.
Yeah,
and
are you gonna?
Yes. I'm excited to dig into why she's so sad. Because there's a lot of history with her and Miles, and there's also a lot of history with her emotional stuff. So that we didn't have time, with this particular... I think
there's something with the brother, right? Because he shows up. Mm-hmm. I think she has a lot of family stuff burning under there.
She does. And, everybody's like, we want more, and which is great. But, with a series that's 8 episodes... which is 8 minutes, which is, around 8 pages, 7-8 pages per episode, and 4 main characters who get equal time.
Yeah, you have an hour.
Yeah, it's about 2 minutes per episode per character. How much can you do?
Well, you leave them wanting more.
Exactly. Season 2.
So when is season 2 going to happen?
When we find some money.
Okay.
Yes. So if there's anybody out here who wants to, fund season 2, let me know. Go to www.odt. See, that's not the website.
Yeah, give the right website.
odtseries.com. We have different website and handles because we can't get Ordai trying for a lot of things because they're just like 50 Cent and other people who claim that.
Whatever.
So, exactly. So we had to do ODT series. But
I'll link to it
odtseries.com.
on my website. Are you talking to any networks? HBO?
Seriously. So we are in the stage right now. We gave ourselves a break after the premiere in June. We're like, we have been in this bubble for 2 years. And so we gave ourselves a little bit of a break over the summer to work on some other stuff we had been neglecting because, when you feed one thing so much, everything else starves. So,
which is kind of the premise of the series.
Exactly.
So you're living, it's so meta.
It's so meta. So we are now starting to come to like when do we want to do season 2? And so Sarah's looking into some different financial options that I don't know much about because now I'm in development script stage of what is the season going to look like? So we're both kind of...
Yeah, you're the writer, don't worry about producing.
Exactly.
And this is the first time you acted? Mm-hmm. Did you ever take acting?
I took some acting classes in college, but they were like Shakespeare type acting classes, so I don't... It was horrible. It was a lot of fun. My teacher was fantastic, but I didn't gain any skills from it at all.
Well, you did really well.
Thank you.
What was your process for acting?
My process.
What was your motivation?
What was my motivation? It was really easy to find my motivation because I created every character.
Right.
I knew everybody's motivation. I promised my director I wouldn't direct over her shoulder. And I didn't. I did really well. We kind of created this like psychic energy between us.
Did you have a lot of meetings beforehand? Like, let me tell you what's happening here.
No.
Really?
So we produced season 1 in 5 days. 5.5 days. We had a pickup day. So it was theater. We had no rehearsals. Everybody met for one table read, and then it was like off to the races. So not only was it my first time acting, but I got no time in between scenes. It's like, be really emo in this scene, and then my character's emo the whole time. But you know what I mean. Do this scene, run the hair and makeup, change. It's a totally different day, totally different episode. We're going to flip the room, and then come back and do a totally different type of a scene. And so it was very, very stressful. We had one day on that Saturday of shooting. I think we worked Thursday through Sunday and then did a pickup day the following Saturday for 6 hours. And that's the Saturday during premiere production. It was called Ray Day because we shot 12 scenes that day and I was in 11.
Oh my God.
We shot my character's entire romantic arc in that day. I didn't get the typical acting experience of being able to be between being like the showrunner and also between having no time. There was no time of like step away, get into the mindset, come back. There was none of that. It's just
so there was no time to have thinking get in your way.
True.
You just had to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was crazy. And I'm we had the best wardrobe and, you know, makeup and all that. Having to like just keep track of, and same with our scriptie, who was fantastic with consistency. Because if we're flipping between episodes and costumes and stuff, we have to know that, oh, now we're back to shooting episode 1, so go put on that same outfit. Oh, no, you had these earrings on, your hair was like this, your makeup was like this. And having to recreate looks over and over again was crazy. So it was a beautifully well-oiled machine, which I attribute to Sarah and also our other producer, Jessica. It was crazy, but it was a lot of fun afterwards.
It was really well done.
Yeah,
I know I keep saying that, but I really mean it. It was really well done. You should all go have a look at it.
Yes, please.
Okay, so you're working on season 2. Mm-hmm. Are there other projects?
Yeah, so right now I've been focusing a lot of my energy on my website. I'm really trying to build it up this year. Me and Sarah also have plans for a production company, so we're working on that. Yes, we do, but it's not like trademarked yet. So.
Okay, all right. You'll tell me when we turn off the recorder.
Absolutely. And then I'm also trying to finish up some other projects that I have been neglecting because I'm starting to get some connections to people who can make things happen. And they're like, what do you have? And I'm like, besides ODT?
No, you need to have a pocket full of scripts.
Exactly. But it's much easier said than done. So
easy for me to say. Could you just write 10 things and have them in your purse?
Can you just please have 10 unique, brilliant ideas ready to go, completely edited and just fundamentally perfect, please?
Yeah. Just take a little 3-month retreat in Brooklyn. It'll be easy.
Exactly. So I'm trying to work on those just to kind of, by the end of the year, have some things in my pocket so that when we approach people with season 2 of ODT, we can also have some other things.
Yeah. So are you also looking to like get in someone else's writer's room, or are you going to focus on creating your own material?
I mean, I'm 26 and not very picky, so I'm not going to say no, I won't write on
I will never sell out to work on someone else's network job.
Are you kidding? If somebody came to me with a writer's room opportunity, I'd take it in a second.
You'd be ODT what?
Yes, exactly. That being said, I would prefer to obviously create my own show. That's always the dream, but I respect the idea of putting in your time and kind of doing it that way. So whatever happens, I'm open. I'm down.
I think you're well on your way.
Thank you.
Are you pursuing acting at all?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I have so much respect for actors, especially now. But I know that acting is something you have to put 110% into. And if you put 100% into anything, you have nothing left.
Right.
I know that I would have to choose which one I'm really going to go after, and writing is always going to win. Unless somebody wants to give me an acting role that pays lots of money.
Of course you'll take that.
I'm going to take it. I'm not Ellie. I'll do it in a second.
But writing is the dream.
Yeah.
Do you have a mentor?
I mean, she doesn't know she's my mentor, but she means a lot to me, and she just recently made the switch over to Netflix, so I'm really excited for just my queen, Shonda Lynn Rhimes, to just take this new experience and just create a bunch of new shows that I'll be obsessed with. She's not my mentor yet, but
I think you need to meet her.
I think you're right.
Sarah, can you help?
Exactly.
And we'll see what we can do.
Anybody knows Shonda, let me know.
That'll be easy because no one's trying to get to Shonda, so that should be a slam dunk.
She has so much time during the day just to take meetings.
She's just waiting
crazy
for proteges to arrive.
Exactly. So I'm ready, Shonda. I'm on my way.
That is great. Well, she's going to need writers.
Yes, she is.
She's got a lot of programming to come up with.
If there's anything that I know about Netflix, is that you got to just pump out the programming.
Yes, it's prolific.
Exactly. But I'm going to miss her at ABC, but I understand. I can't...
She's leaving her shows at ABC that we love, though.
She's leaving all those, yes, but it's like TGIT and like that whole vibe is not going to mean as much now because she's not technically there anymore, so it's fine because I know that if she's killing off main characters on ABC, we're going to get a lot of crazy content on Netflix where there are like no rules. I can only imagine what she's going to do when she doesn't have training wheels. I'm not ready.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah,
it's good.
For sure.
It's so funny because you're right in that usually I ask people what advice you have for young women coming up, except that you are the young woman coming up. What advice have you gotten?
You know, I haven't really gotten much advice. People don't tend to give me a lot of advice, which I don't know if that's good or bad. But I will say that the advice I would have given myself...
Yes, let's have that.
is things are going to move very slowly, and that we have this idea with social media that success happens very quickly. And I know
overnight.
Now, exactly, just, a couple retweets and you're famous. But I know now that that's not the case. And I knew back then that that wasn't the case too, but you know something and then you also still get your hopes up.
Right.
Like there's
because you
logic.
could be different.
Exactly. It could happen to you.
Yeah.
So I think I would have told myself to be more patient. And this is just me 4 months ago. Around the ODT came out, we're like, it's gonna be huge. And it was very well received. Yeah. But we're not rich right now. You know what I mean? So
like Netflix didn't pick it up in the first week.
Exactly. So I think that just patience and consistency, hard work, and also being not social in a fake way, but just open to authentic interactions with people.
You have to network.
Yeah.
It's a relationship town.
You have to network, but you have to network smart. Don't network for the sake of networking because people can see through that. You have to.
Oh, it's gross.
It's so disgusting. You have to network with good intentions of really wanting to know that person, as opposed to we have a very shallow relationship. Now, what can you do for my career?
Yeah, it's so gross.
Yeah. So that's gross. What I would say.
What would you say it is that drives you?
The PC version of Myah would say it's my passion, which it is.
Okay, what's the real answer?
The real answer is the idea that one day I can live the life I want to live, which is not necessarily a money thing or a vanity thing. I just want to be comfortable enough to where I'm not in LA sliding through financially every month. Just like, here's all my money for rent. Just here's my soul. Here's my uterus. Take it.
Selling my eggs to cover the difference.
Exactly. No, seriously. I just want to be able to pay my student loans and pay my rent and fly home more than once a year to see all of my new nieces and nephews and all of that. And I want to be able to travel. I think that's my main motivation, is getting to a point where I'm comfortable enough to where I have the financial freedom to travel and have those types of experiences. But the finished product also drives me. I'm not very motivated by the process. I know people say, you gotta love the process, man. But screw the process. It's horrible. The act of writing is horrible.
It's hard.
It's so frustrating, and it's so just tedious, and it's horrible. And shout out to everybody who loves sitting down and writing, but
who loves the agony. I've never heard a writer say they love the process. It's agony for everyone.
Shonda does.
Oh, she does well.
She does, but she's Shonda.
She's a unicorn.
What you gonna do? But yeah, I love the finished product. I love seeing it come to life. I love looking back at things I've written and being like, how did I write that? But the act of sitting down and doing it, I despise it. So I'm motivated by what will this be when it's done. Because if I try to be motivated by the love of writing, I'll get nothing done.
Okay, now I'm looking at the tattoo on your arm.
Yes.
What does that say?
It says, do what you love. And my dad was he had a lot of emotions. I have 6 tattoos, so it's no surprise that there's a huge one on my wrist. But I got this, actually, I just wanted a tattoo on this part of my body, on the side of my wrist. And I was working at Zara in Philly. And I was like, what am I going to get? I really want to get something meaningful, something I can look at every day and remind myself of something I didn't know what to get. And I'm putting a pair of jeans or jean shorts on a hanger, and the tag on the back says, do what you love. I don't know why. Why would that be on a tag of some jean shorts?
Yeah.
And it was light bulb. I was like, that's it.
That's it.
And now it's become my motto. It's literally drives my life. So I see it every day, and even when I'm frustrated, I'm like, you love this. Remember that you loved it. It's like when you're a parent and your kid is pissing you off. And you're like, but remember you love it. Don't leave it in the supermarket. You love it. And so that's how I feel sometimes with writing. I'm like, you love it. It's a reminder.
It's great.
Thank you.
You have to.
Yeah.
Don't wait until you're 40 to figure out you should do what you love.
Yeah. My mom was just telling me today how she admires that about me, that I'm a very logical person except for when it comes to what I should be doing with my life. In the sense that when I moved out here, my parents are very, very supportive. I have very young parents, so we're friends now. They're not regular parents, they're cool parents, But they're very, very supportive, but they also worry because they know that I'm just straight up broke. I'm a millennial. We're all broke. We have no money unless we're social media influencers, and they were super rich. But they wanted me to have some type of a backup plan. Like, okay,
Sure.
cool, you're going to be a writer, but like also can you like go back to school?
Get a
and,
skill.
Like, you know, can you like get a real job with the salary and health insurance and things that are important to adults? And I'm like, I could, but you know, if I get a real job, I'll have less time to be on set or to work. And I'm very lucky with my day job. I work at another modeling agency, which is not a print one, it's a fit modeling agency. So we just send models to basically be like the human mannequins of companies during production. Exactly. So it's way less vain. Like they really don't care. They just, are you the right measurements? Yeah. Cool.
Are you a perfect size 6?
Exactly.
Go for it.
Exactly. So it's very flexible. My boss is an actress. Her husband's a TV writer. So it's the perfect fit. It's a very, very flexible job, but it's obviously not as stable as if I went and got a desk job at some company.
But if there's ever a time in your life when you can have a little financial insecurity to build your foundation for following your dream,
it's your 20s. It's
your
the
20s.
only time.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Things I wish I knew when I was in my 20s.
I learned that I just have no business really working for other people unless we're working toward something I'm passionate about. Because I'm very, very bad at faking enthusiasm for something that I don't like.
Okay, so, this is the crux of the millennial.
Yes.
And it's so funny because I used to work with a lot of millennials, and now I'm meeting a lot of millennials doing this. And I really think millennials have to be following their dream.
We have to.
Have to.
We're not able to not
miserable in an office.
And I can't hide it. I can't hide it. So I'm like, Sarah is
the
very...
contempt just oozes off of people.
It does. Sarah's very good at working a job and at least giving that job her all. Yeah. You know, like a trivial job. She's very good at being like, I'm here, I'm going to work.
I can't wait to make copies. How many would you like?
Exactly. I've never been that way, and it's an issue. It's like, if I don't care, it oozes out of me. Yeah. And it's to the point where it's like, oh, you're firing me, or oh, I quit. Nobody's surprised. I hate it here. So I learned
doing
that,
us both a favor.
Exactly. I learned that I'm very collaborative, but I definitely need to be working on things that I just need to be working on something that I think matters to more than just the person writing the paychecks. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
have a life with purpose.
Exactly. So I just need to feel like what I'm doing is not a total waste of 40 hours in a week. And sometimes you get jobs where you're like, this only matters to the person who's making direct money from this.
Yeah.
The world will not be changed by whether or not somebody buys this Prada bag. Except for maybe that person. I don't know.
Well, you never know. A Prada bag can change a life.
That's fair. That's true. I take that back. That's 100% true.
Tell me this. What do you make of the state of the world at the moment?
Well, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bleak, but I've been getting more into, or not really, I've been pretending to get more into astrology. So apparently the equinox means change, especially for 45. I'm not going to say his name. He doesn't deserve it, but we'll see if that happens. But I feel like the world is just so broken right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like it gives artists and writers, everybody, kind of we have the unique power to influence it. And so I think it's important that we are producing like diverse pieces that drive conversation. And so I'm so glad that, especially like my industry is becoming more diverse and people are kind of taking more risks with the things that they're saying about what's happening in the world. And nobody's shying away from issues, because that's kind of where hate and things can kind of breed when people don't want to talk about it, which is what the history of our country is based on. Just people not talking about hard things and it just building up and coming to a head. So I'm hopeful. I'm not depressed about the world and what's going on, because humans have just known to screw things up since the very first humans were on Earth. So it's not shocking to me that we've come to this place, but I definitely hope that people in this country make better choices for our leadership in the future.
Well done.
Thank
well done. It really feels like a time for the artist to come out, doesn't it? And share. I keep coming back to, because I know it's such a cliche to brush off Hollywood, and Hollywood doesn't know what it's talking about, and blah, blah. But Hollywood is the places where the stories about all the people are created, which go into everyone's living room and really changes the culture.
Yep, I agree. I think that things like, you know, SNL or all the late night talk shows, I think they're important, especially now where we're getting to a place where nobody's allowed to be silent anymore. Before it was like, oh, I just want to stay out of politics. And now
I'm not political.
I'm just not, Facebook isn't the place, guys, for these conversations.
Take a stand.
Like, exactly.
It's time to take a stand.
It's time to pick a side, because it's to the point where if you don't, you've picked one by default.
Yeah.
And so I like that we have people on TV who are forcing people to be like, no bullshit, you have to choose, because nothing, like, you're making it worse if you're silent.
Yeah.
And so
we don't get to ignore the Nazis anymore.
We have literal Nazis marching in 2017. Like, what?
How crazy is that?
It's insanity. It's insanity that it's okay. It's insanity that we still have a president who is just not qualified, and it's just a horrible human being to his core, and is still president. Like, if you think about like people like Obama, or even just pick a previous president, they would not have gotten away with these things. Even Reagan didn't get away with these things. Yeah. And so
the fact that we're looking at Bush fondly right now,
like, literally, I'm ready to call him up and grab coffee. It's crazy.
Like, you're not so bad after all.
Yeah, we're like retweeting politicians who have been known to be problematic in the past. We're retweeting them because they're saying, guys, this is horrible. And we're like, can't believe we're retweeting these people who are also probably horrible human beings, but are at least understand where the line is.
Yeah,
and I feel
we're
like
so far over the line.
Yeah, I feel like 45 just doesn't.
Like, could we have a little sanity?
Please. So I think it's an interesting time between the presidency and also everything with like Black Lives Matter and just all the racial tension happening. I think people are getting to a point where they're like, we're actually really, really sick of this.
Yeah.
And we're not really here to be cute about it anymore. And I think that this presidency is going to lead to some type of fundamental change in the country, for the good or for the bad. So we're either going to be back in 1962 or we're going to be at a place where we're like, actually, we're not tolerating any of this. And I think it's going to be very polarizing for the country, and I'm hopeful that people have enough sense in their mind and that enough people are not racist and sexist and just ignorant enough to feed into those lies. I'm hoping that the majority of the people, as we know, the popular vote went to Hillary anyway. So there's that.
It does feel like it is our opportunity to choose how we want it to look. Mm-hmm. Now, I know you do not speak for all Black people, but
I do. You didn't hear it?
Oh, you're the representative?
You didn't get my press release? Yeah.
Okay, oh good. What an opportunity. Can you speak to Black Lives Matter and explain it for people who think it's a hate group?
Yeah, it's so funny because Black Lives Matter came around because Black people continuously get shot by the police, and then the best that we can hope for is that they get a temporary paid leave from the police force, the people who do the shooting.
That is the most that has happened to anybody.
That's all that we can hope for, is that sometimes they get like a little vacation. Just think about what you've done, young man. That's all we get.
Think about what you've done.
Exactly. And so Black Lives Matter came around to kind of say, no, you can't just straight up kill people on videotape with audio and
for no reason.
And have no repercussions. And even going back to the things that happened in Charlottesville, a lot of people brought up the fact that it's interesting that the outrage came when a white woman was killed. And even her family said that. Heather's family said that would we have seen the same reaction if it was another Black person killed? And so Black Lives Matter, a lot of people's argument with it is that all lives matter. Black people aren't special. All lives matter. And we're like, yeah, exactly. But all lives aren't being shot by the police. We're singling out Black people because Black people are being singled out.
Could we behave as if all lives matter?
Exactly.
And then we can quit saying it.
If all lives matter, let's just make that true.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying. So I think that with Black Lives Matter being a hate, or people perceiving it as a hate group, more destruction happens to cities when people's sports teams lose or win than it does with Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm from Philly. There's a lot of sports fans in Philly. They will tear things up depending on
They will light cars on fire.
Absolutely. They'll break windows if things do or don't go their way.
But if it's a bunch of white guys in jerseys,
then it's fine. If it's,
it's passionate fans.
If it's a militia marching down the street that's not, sanctioned to be there, it's fine because, it's whatever. But if it's a group of Black people who say, hey, could you please, not kill us? Could you please not kill our children? Can you please not kill our fathers and our mothers. We would just really appreciate it. If you need to lock us up, just please arrest us and leave us alone and send us to a court and let the very corrupt justice system deal with us. But just please don't kill us. Then we become a hate group, and then we're...
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot to ask.
It's just...
Seems pretty basic.
Literally, can we live? Like, can we just live?
Thank you for clearing that up.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Are you a success?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good. Are you a badass?
I am. I strive to be in all things, but, you know, there are waves. Sometimes you don't always feel like a badass, but you got to put on the face that you are one and fake it till you make it sometimes.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other advice for young women just starting out in this business?
Understand that while there will be people who have the ability to help you get further in your career, nobody's doing you any favors if you're talented. If you're talented, you don't owe people anything. Do you know what I mean? You can be gracious and appreciative of the help people give you, but Hollywood needs talented people. That's how Hollywood survives. So don't let anybody make you feel like you're indebted to them if you know that you're good at what you do. Stand in that, know your worth, and understand that they need you, because a lot of people who hold the keys to the things in this industry are not the ones with the talent. They're just the ones with the power. And so they need the writers, they need the actors, they need all of these creatives who come into this industry very meek and very like, oh, can I just please, you know, get like any opportunity, which is great. It's great to have that mindset, but just understand that your talent is valuable and it's a commodity, and it's a rare commodity, because there are a lot of people who do things. Not everybody spends enough time to become good at what they do. So just understand that even if people give you crap, your talent is what makes you a commodity. And it's the reason that even if they're giving you crap, it's the reason that they still want you around, because they understand that they need you to. And so don't let people treat you like crap, because, you know, you're going to make yourself money. You're going to make them money. You're going to have a great life. And those people who hold the keys, who you feel like you need to, you know, kiss their ass to get where you want to get, they would be nowhere if all creators were like, actually, like when a writer's strike happens, are you kidding me? We get whatever we want.
It all shuts down.
Everything shuts down. Like, everybody's jobs stop when a writer's strike happens, because there's value to writers, even though we write a movie and then get fired from our own movie and then hopefully hired back at the end to edit the final draft of something everybody screwed up while we were fired. So just understand that you have power, and people will try to tell you you don't, and do not listen to them.
Okay, I think you've got it figured out. You're pretty smart.
Thank you. 26 years on this earth has served me well.
So I think that also plays into, don't be so grateful that you forget to ask for the money.
Yeah.
Ask for the money.
Absolutely. Be gracious and be pleasant. Be somebody who people want to work with, who people want to know. I read a book. I forget what it's called. It's horrible. It's like my favorite screenwriting book. But they were saying that people want to work with you if they want to go out and have a drink with you. That's our industry. Mm-hmm. And I've experienced that at previous jobs where I've been like very competent at my job. Not fantastic, because as we know about me now, I didn't want to be there. But I was very, very competent. But I was there to work, and I didn't want to go grab a drink with everybody. And so that there's a lot of politics. Oh, are you somebody I want to be friends with? That gets you a long way in this industry. So
the relationships are important.
Exactly. So,
and then you have to have the
talent to back it up. So, be personable, be gracious, be somebody that somebody wants to know outside of work, but also understand that you're here to get paid.
It's show business.
It's your business, it's your brand. And when you're first starting off, it's good to do like the free things just to build your experience, build your resume, build your reel, all of that stuff. But there comes a time where you know that you've had enough experience. It's that saying where it's like, and then that photographer died from exposure. Like, you get to a point where you're like, I've had enough exposure, enough people have seen my work, and then you need to start enforcing. Know what your actual rate is, know what you're worth financially. Don't try to charge people more than what you're worth based on your experience, but know what you're honestly worth, and only work with people who are willing to value you in that sense. Do not, if you know that your rate is a certain amount and people, unless it's just a bomb opportunity that you cannot turn down, then understandably so, but be gracious, but also stand by the fact that you are worth something. Even when you're first starting out, you're worth, edited copies of the pictures you shot for free. You're worth something.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Is there anything you wanted to say that we didn't touch on?
Go watch Or Die Trying. I'm sure she'll link it in all of, the description stuff, but go watch it. It's really fun. It's very, very quick binging experience. It's about an hour runtime. And then hit us up on social media at @ODT_series and let us know if you liked it.
You will.
You will.
All right.
It's going to be great.
Thank you. Goodbye.
You've been listening to The Other 50%, A Herstory of Hollywood. I'm Julie Harris Walker. I'd like to thank Myah Hollis for sharing her story. And special thanks to Katie McDougald for the editing, Jay Rowe, Danny Rosner, and Allison McQuaid for the music. Please find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbay, and subscribe and leave a review. And of course, on our website, theother50%.com, all spelled out in letters, for added features, bios of our guests, pictures, the merch. And also, we are now on YouTube, where you will start to see some of these interviews on video. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Other50% and Instagram at Other50% Podcast. And don't forget to check out The Other 50%, A Herstory of Tech. Thanks for listening. See you next time.